Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Late Night Football. Welcome to another season preview episode, our second for today. And we're continuing with the theme of La Liga. We did Barcelona before this one. So if you have missed it, there will be the playlist link at the end of this video. So you can go back and watch it after you finish watching this one. Don't turn away now. But we're talking about Real Madrid. And it's an interesting one with Real Madrid because, when I spoke about Barcelona, I said they pretty much won the league even without the ball being kicked. It would feel like, because of the injuries that have happened. And with Real Madrid, I almost feel like this season is a holding pattern season in some ways. I think Real Madrid are in some ways looking at next season as being one where they will begin like a new era, like a transition to a new era. This one just feels like a holdover from the past. It's like in the middle of the holdover from the past era, and in the middle of transitioning to the new era. It almost feels like that. In some ways, I'm sure Real Madrid, fans may not want to see it that way. Maybe Real Madrid themselves internally may not want to see it that way. But if you look at the team as a whole and you look at the structure as a whole, it just feels like everything is about next season, right? I mean, you look at the fact that Carlo Ancelotti has 1 year left on his contract. He's going to go possibly to Brazil and manage them next year. So he's got 1 year. So they're probably going to get a new manager next year. They pretty much put all of their eggs in the Mbappe basket in trying to sign him in 2024. So they're not spending a lot of money this year, or at least they don't want to spend a lot of money this year, because they want to go and bring Mbappe next year, which is going to be a significant outlay. You look at the fact that there are players like Lucas Vazquez, Nacho, maybe even Dani Ceballos. These guys shouldn't be at the club, but they're there for another year. I think it's all about, let's try and see out this 1 year and then recalibrate, reconfigure next year and start afresh. And Real Madrid can do that, because La Liga, unfortunately, is a league where you can have a bad season. If you're Real Madrid, you can have a bad season in La Liga and still finish in top 4. So you don't have to worry about Champions League qualification. Clubs in the Premier League or even in Serie A can't do that. They can't decide to take a year off just like that, because if you do, you probably will not be in the Champions League the following year. But Real Madrid can do that. And that, unfortunately, is Mr. Tebas. That is the reason why La Liga cannot compete with Premier League in Saudi Arabia, because the reality is that nobody is going to pay big money to watch a league where two teams dominate. Where if one team decides that we can take a year off, they're not going to have much consequences. It's like the other team wins, and then the one that decides to take a year off still manages to be in and around the top places. Nobody's going to pay big money to see that. But I digress. Coming back to Real Madrid, so what I am intrigued, of course, I mean, Jude Bellingham signing is a good one, and I think that it was something that they need to do. Real Madrid now have a very, very good midfield. I mean, whatever else they may not have, they have a very good midfield. They've got Bellingham, Camavinga, Tchouameni. That could be and Valverde as well. That could be a nucleus for a strong midfield for years to come. I think the Benzema departure was not part of the plan, and this is where I think the holding pattern thing comes into play, because I think they had planned, we'll keep Benzema for 1 more year, and then we'll get Mbappe next year. And so, that Benzema to Mbappe transition will happen. It will happen gradually. Now, what has happened? Benzema left a year earlier than it was scheduled, because he obviously felt, why should I stay in Madrid for a year because when I'm getting this big offer from Saudi Arabia now? So he's left. Madrid obviously don't have money to buy a striker as such, and so they've pretty much given up on that. They brought in Joselu, who really shouldn't be a striker, for a starting striker for Real Madrid, but here he is, probably going to be a bench option. So what we have seen in preseason is we've seen a team that is struggling for goals, and it is going to continue struggling for goals, because it's going to be a lot of pressure on Vinicius and Rodrygo, neither of whom have proven that they can get 15, 20, 25 goals a season. And Madrid as a club, you need someone who can get you 20, 25 goals a season. Neither of them has shown that they can do that. And so the goals will be hard to come by. They have a good midfield, but there's nobody to finish the chances on a consistent basis. What's going to make things worse is Thibaut Courtois' injury that we've learned about. He's going to be out for quite a few months. David De Gea will probably come in. That's he's looking at the favorite. But when he comes in, that's going to alter the style even more. It means Madrid probably will play a little bit deeper than they're used to, which again means that they will play more on the counter, which might suit them. But the problem is, will they be able to score enough goals in that transit? Will they be able to be an effective counter-attacking team, and will they be able to score enough goals? I mean, that's a big question to be answered. Not the other side, of course, is that Courtois is a much better shot stopper than David De Gea. I think David De Gea's shot stopping ability is a bit overrated, particularly in the big games. And Courtois' ability was not just in keeping the ball out. The reality is that oftentimes Madrid would win 2-1, 1-0. And the reason why they would win those score lines is because Courtois would keep them in the game. Even when they were having a bad game, Courtois' saves would keep them in the game, and then someone would go and make a goal, and they would win a game. Or sometimes they'd be losing 1-0 and Courtois would keep out a few good saves, and then somebody suddenly they'd go and score quickly and make it 2-1 win. So that's a big part of how Madrid are winning games. Without him, can David De Gea step up? Can he do that job? I don't think he can. So that's going to be another. I'm not saying he's a bad keeper. I'm just saying he's not at the level of Courtois, and so there's going to be a drop off from that as well. They've also lost Arda Guler, who was one of their big summer signings, not in terms of price, but definitely in terms of hype. And now he's got a knee injury, so he's got to go and get surgery as well. So he's going to be out for a few months as well. So two of their big summer signings are already not two of their big summer signings. So one of their big summer signings and one of the key players is already got lost to injury, and it's already a thin squad as it is. The other part of the transition phase is Kroos and Modric. Now, I believe last season was the time when Real Madrid had to stop playing Kroos and Modric together. Like, it's done. Like, you probably play them in a home game against a lower table club. Maybe you can get away with playing the two of them, or maybe in a game where there's not much riding on it and you're trying to rest your players for the bigger games. Yes, you can play them together, but they shouldn't be starting big games like Champions League games together. They really shouldn't. There's time for that transition to happen. But Ancelotti, for some reason, keeps insisting to play the two of them in the same team. And I wonder if he has realized that now I can't do that. I can't play these two together anymore. And I hope he starts building towards that, starts making that transition towards playing. There's still room, I think, for a Modric or a Kroos to start, but it's got to be alongside the other three or two. And if you're going to play 4-1-2-1-2, then you start the other three and you play Modric or Kroos. If you're going to play 4-3-3, then you've got to figure out. I don't think they'll be playing 4-3-3 much because they don't have a striker. But whether or they might play 4-3-3 but play Valverde as the right winger, and then you play Rodrygo as a striker. Now that could happen. And again, in that system as well, you could play Modric alongside either Bellingham and Camavinga or Tchouameni, two of those three. That can work. But I don't think Kroos and Modric should be starting together anymore because they're a liability in a team, particularly in a league where there's so much high pressing, so much high energy football. They really can't keep up, and it does impact the midfield. So I hope we don't see that, and that transition needs to start happening this season. Whether it will happen or not is a big question. I think Ancelotti has always been very reluctant. He's very reluctant to make the changes when he takes a liking to certain players. He's too loyal to them. He doesn't make the changes. The other change that needs to happen is that Rudiger's got to be a starter this season. Every time I've seen Rudiger, he's looked very good. He offers that bite and that tenacity that nobody else in this team offers. I mean, Militao and Alaba are great technical defenders. They're very good technical defenders, but they don't have that bite in them. They don't have that little bit of the naughtiness in them, the shithousery in them to really rile up. And sometimes you need that in certain games. You need that. That's not to say that Rudiger's not a good defender. He's a very good defender, but he also has that little bit of tenacity and bite in him, which makes a difference in many games, particularly in tight games. And I see Madrid will have a lot of tight games this season. That little bit of mental edge really makes a difference. And I think Ancelotti doesn't appreciate that as much. And he should try and use him more this season rather than playing Militao and Alaba every time together. I think hopefully Rudiger will get more starts. I hope that. We'll see. I do hope it's the end of the Camavinga at left back experimentation. I mean, they did that last year, but I think Garcia has played a lot at left back. Hopefully, when the season starts, we'll see more of Camavinga in midfield rather than left back, because I think he's wasted. He's wasted as a left back. He should be playing midfield. The ideal midfield three should be Tchouameni, Camavinga, and Bellingham. That's your three midfielders. Now, in certain big games, you might want the experience of a Modric or a Kroos. So in that case, you probably take off Tchouameni. For me, I think probably comes off because he's a little bit not there yet. And then you play Camavinga and Bellingham. But really, I mean, it's got to be, it's surely not going to be Kroos and Modric. That's right. And ultimately, there's a lot of questions. Like I said, it's Nacho's coming to the end of his career. He's on a 1 year extension. I think Lucas Vazquez also probably did a 1 year extension. So lots of players who are in the final year of their contracts. And like I said, it's a bit of a holding pattern season because they're still transitioning from the old era and they haven't yet fully transitioned to the new era. And this season seems to be the one where they're going, we've got to spend a lot of money next year. So let's try not spend much this year. So I think that's where we at with Madrid, and therefore I feel they will finish. I mean, they could finish third, and Madrid finishing third is a big deal. Imagine how surprising it is that a team with so many problems as Madrid, and I say they might finish third, and that's seen as a bold prediction. But I think they might finish third. I'll probably go with second though. I'm going to play it safe and say they're going to finish second, but I wouldn't be surprised if they finish third or even fourth because there's just too many issues in the team right now, and it might take them a while to get going. But ultimately, I think. I don't see them finishing lower than fourth, which is sad, but that's how it is. But I don't see them winning the La Liga. I don't see them winning any trophies actually this season. I don't think they'll win any trophies. I think they've lost a lot of that big game experience with Benzema leaving. Just his ability to lift the team up. That would be a big miss. So anyway, share your thoughts. Do you agree with my comments? Do you disagree with them? Do you think Madrid will actually have a great season? Let me know. Of course, I always love to hear from you guys. put that in the comments. Do smash like if you enjoyed this video, and do subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Always appreciate your support. Getting a lot of subscribers, and I do want to acknowledge that and say thank you to everyone who subscribed to our channel. Really appreciate it. We've got maybe a few more videos coming up as well over the next few days. So the season's starting this weekend, so we've got a lot of content coming up. So do subscribe to get notified as they drop. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again very soon. Bye bye.